Hey everybody, this is Diamonds and Hashmarks, another DNH episode. This time on a Monday, trying to get back on our regular schedule. How you doing?
Good. Getting ready to
Doing good.
sleep probably here soon because I'm really tired today. But that's for another time. For right now,
Yeah.
it's time to record this episode. Time to get it done. Got a lot of stuff
Well,
to get into.
yeah, of course, as always. Glad you're putting in the effort for this episode. It's real nice to see.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah. So,
Appreciate it.
if this is your first time joining us, I'm the host and producer, Alex Pichardo.
I'm the co-host Peyton Pichardo. You dig?
If you thought we were brothers, you're exactly right. That's kind of who we are. By blood. So we got a lot to cover. Your favorite set of brothers covering your favorite sports, baseball and football. If you're a football only listener or a baseball only listener, you guys need to hold me accountable to actually putting in the timestamp for when you can start listening, because I've been horrible about that recently.
Horrible.
Yeah, but it's okay. So gonna go ahead and talk football first. It's a football first Monday. As we've already said a couple times, a ton to get into. We had a Heisman winner. We had the Jags play a terrible game against the Browns. We got FSU threatening to leave the ACC. And we got just the most asinine take from the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs when it comes to offsides and when you can call it and when you can't call it. So that's kind of what we're looking forward to getting into today. But we're going to go ahead and start, as always, with college football. Jayden Daniels, LSU quarterback, took home the win for the Heisman. How do we feel about that?
Feeling good about it. I don't think I was surprised either. I feel like the year that he put in overall, coming in from Arizona State, going to LSU, like I don't know where he was in the odds ranking of getting the Heisman this year, but
Yeah,
he
I can't
proved
recall
all the
that.
doubters wrong because 3,812 yards, 40 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. That's a year. Have yourself a year. That's almost Joe Burrow numbers, I think. I want to go look at his stats. If I can here real quick. But yeah, I wasn't surprised at all by this. You go ahead. What do you think about it?
Well, I knew his name was out there. And after the game he put up against Florida, I kind of figured when Brian Kelly started talking in the interview, like, if you're wanting a Heisman winner, I don't know what you're looking for if it's not Jayden Daniels. So it kind of makes sense. Would not have picked him at the beginning of the year, right?
Right, yeah.
I think at the beginning of
Caleb Williams, Travis Hunter was in there after the first couple of weeks.
Yeah. JJ McCarthy.
Yep.
Amongst other names. Milton, the kid out of Tennessee. I thought Tennessee was going to have a much better year than they actually did. But,
yeah,
here we are. Jayden Daniels, second LSU quarterback to win. Only 2 LSU players to win the Heisman, Joe Burrow and now Jayden Daniels. So I guess he gets to add that notch to his belt. And
Jayden Daniels wasn't even close to Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow had 60 touchdowns.
Yeah.
In his senior
Joe
year.
Burrow was something else. Yeah.
So never mind.
Do we think this helps Jayden Daniels' draft stock at all? Do we think the fact that he's a Heisman winner suddenly puts him, around earlier or several picks higher? Because I don't remember him being a part of the conversation for... yeah, but I don't remember him being... I think we're talking about Michael Penix Jr., Caleb Williams, J.J. McCarthy, and then... what's that Drake kid?
Ooh.
Right? Because I can't remember the last time I looked at the top couple of picks and thought, oh, Jayden Daniels would be great for those.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think it does improve it a little bit. I mean,
I don't know.
It's the prestigious award in college football, so.
Yeah, I guess. I just don't know how well winning a Heisman translates to success in the NFL. Tim Tebow. Exhibit A.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah, you did great there. Can you put it together here? Let's see. So, I'm interested to see where this goes. Yeah, he won the Heisman. That's great for him, but I'm interested to see what happens next for him.
Then homie turned into a tight end for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and that didn't go well.
No, it didn't. And I don't think it would go well for Jayden Daniels either, considering his size.
It's enough into a tight end. Yeah. No, fair.
Yeah. Marvin Harrison Jr.
Maserati
wide receiver. Yeah, Maserati Marv, dubbed that by Gus Johnson. Wide receiver for Ohio State. has the opportunity to go to the NFL this upcoming draft. Several teams obviously are going to want that guy because he's just that good at receiver. But apparently, he has an extra incentive to stay at the Ohio State University, an extra season, an extra year. Aside from just having another crack at winning a national title, it's alleged that he has a $23 to $24 million NIL deal on the table if he stays at Ohio State. Suddenly, it's almost more lucrative to stay in college football than it is to risk a fall in the NFL draft and miss out on signing bonus money.
Yeah.
Put yourself in his shoes for a second for this little segment. If you were Marvin Harrison Jr., would you take the NIL deal and stay at Ohio State for $23 million for an extra year? Or would you forego that, see how you do at the combine, see how you do at your pro day, see how you do in the draft, and then negotiate for signing bonus money? Because I feel like he's a high pick anyway.
Yeah.
A high pick overall. So it's not like he's losing a ton of money if he falls in the draft, because a fall for him would technically be falling from, I don't know, pick 3 to pick 17. But that's not a ton of money that he's losing out on. So if you were him, what are you doing?
Man, if I'm in his shoes, man, I'm looking at the $23 million deal on the table, and I'm like, man, I've never seen $23 million in my life. Like, stacked up against me. So I'm like, man, like that's $23 million. I know I'm going to be able to get. Probably not all of it's guaranteed because you got to like include everything, like taxes and all that kind of stuff. So anyway,
in college football, the NIL deal is not at all allowed to be tied to player performance on the field. So it's fully guaranteed as long as he lives up to his end of the deal.
Right. So like he could go and accept this $23 million deal and have a terrible year, but still get the $23 million. So
exactly.
Man, but do you bet on that, or do you just bet on, man, you know you're going to be a top 5 probably draft pick in this next year's draft. You're going to bank on that signing bonus money. You're going to negotiate. It's like, hey, I was being offered $23 million for an NIL deal.
Interesting.
Like what's going on here? Like I'd like to get at least close to that, if not. And I think he should go to the NFL. I think he's ready for it. I think that he will make a lot more money. With the whole I can't think of the name, advertisements and everything like that. Gosh, that was so hard for me. Endorsements. Thank you. Oh man. Just like for all the endorsement money he's now going to be getting and everything like that, he's gonna make that up pretty quick. It's Marvin Harrison Jr. we're talking about here. He's that dude.
So to let you know where it falls in line, let's do this. $23 million for 1 extra year at Ohio State. I say if I'm him, I'm taking it because I've never seen $23 million before in my life. I don't know how much I'm getting in the draft. I'm taking it right now. Tyreek Hill is going to make $30 million this next year. Devontae Adams, 28. Cooper Kupp, 26. A.J. Brown, 25. Stephon Diggs, 24. DK Metcalf, 24. Deebo Samuel, 23. Terry McLaurin, 23.
$24 million a year.
So he would be making more than DJ Moore and Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Amari Cooper, Chris Godwin, Deontay Johnson, Christian Kirk, Tyler Lockett, Mike Evans, Hunter Renfrow, OBJ.
DK Metcalf's an extra year. $24 million a year.
Which guy?
DK?
Yeah. Total value of the contract for him is $72 million. 31 guaranteed.
Okay.
Yeah, but then that's, that's still more guaranteed money than Deontay Johnson. More guaranteed money than Devontae Adams for just 1 year. So.
Wow. Yeah.
It's an interesting situation he finds himself in.
Yeah, because I guess you'll be making more than some of the wide receivers that are in the game now in the NFL.
Like how much better could it get if you risk it?
That's true.
Right? Speaking of leaving.
Yeah.
Leaving and moving on. FSU wants to leave the ACC. And those rumors had kind of already started last offseason. And they picked up again after they got snubbed from the college football playoff. Because suddenly it looks like winning the ACC and having an undefeated record means nothing,
Means nothing.
because you could win it. You could go undefeated and win the conference championship and still get snubbed.
Right.
Like you're a
As we've
Power
seen.
5 conference champion, but it didn't mean enough to get you in. And so they want to leave and move on to the Big Ten. Now, the Big Ten is also picking up a ton of those Pac-12 teams. So suddenly the Big Ten looks like it has a really interesting schedule in front of itself. I can't wait to watch, 8-2 FSU play 6-4 Rutgers. That's going to be fun.
Yeah.
What do you make of this? What do you make of FSU wanting to leave? Is it legitimate? Do you think it actually happens? How fast does it happen?
Gosh, the legitimacy. Did I pronounce that right? I might have did.
I think so. Yeah,
I think
right.
so. Man,
Legitimacy, word of the day for everybody listening.
Yeah. We'll have a vocab word of the day starting now.
No, we won't.
Anyway, FSU leaving. I think it's legitimate. I think that there's a desire there to go into a different conference and everything like that. But I think as a whole, what we've seen from the Pac-12, I think even just this year, like all the nostalgia feel of like all the conferences back in the day, and like all of them are just finally like disbanding and going to like separate conferences and just making one huge super conference. And I don't know, it might just be like it might be a little like the stubbornness in me is just like, man, I don't want that to change. I want things to stay how they were. Like I want the Pac-12 to still be the Pac-12. I want the SEC to still be the SEC. I want the Big 12 to still be the Big 12 and not like pour into the SEC. You know what I'm saying? So like,
yeah.
But I think right now where we are, like we're in a new age of college football. So, I think Super Conference is like a thing in the future. So FSU is just kind of taking the jump on it, I guess, and leaving, because I mean, as you added before we were talking about it, like FSU had the perfect season in regards to their record, went undefeated, win the conference championship, and then you're just snubbed out of the college football playoffs. Like winning the ACC means nothing. I think we've seen that, especially this year.
Yeah.
So,
do you think that's only an FSU problem, though? Like, do you think if Miami ran the table and won the ACC, that they would have been in? Or, like, that's obviously not happening anytime soon.
Yeah, right.
But if Clemson ran the table,
I'm Mario Cristobal, head coach for the Miami. Please come on the show.
But if that's only an FSU problem, then I totally understand why they want to leave. If it's more than just an FSU problem, I don't understand why anybody stays in the ACC.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I think it happens. I think you're right. The Super Conference is a thing of the future. And like you said, I don't want it to. Like, I think both of us are agreeing that we don't want it to happen, but it makes the most sense for all parties involved. So I guess we'll just see where the chips fall on it.
Yep.
Yeah, so looks like the Big Ten is coming to Florida now, or Florida is going to the Big Ten, which is crazy that in a matter of 2 years, it looks like the Big Ten is expanded from just, that one little pocket in the upper Midwest throughout the nation, like as far west as Oregon now, into California, and now they're going to have a team in Florida. So another thing to keep in mind is that this doesn't only affect the football players. Like, can you imagine being a college baseball player or softball player, and now you got to go play a weekend series in California? That's a long trip. So
long trip.
Yeah, it looks like they're on their way out. I guess it makes the most sense, but we don't want it to happen. Let's go ahead and transition here to the NFL. Sure. Jags and Browns.
Do we really want to transition into this?
Here, let's do this first. Let's transition into the punching bag first. Okay. We picked the Steelers and Patriots game, and the over-under looked real shaky at the beginning because the Patriots were moving the ball with Bailey Zappi.
Yeah.
That was probably the most entertaining cripple fight I've watched this year. Of the string of Thursday night football games that have been absolutely horrendous, that you and I touched on last episode, and how bad the Thursday night games have been.
Yeah.
this was probably the most entertaining bad NFL game. I would say.
Bears Commanders? No? You think?
No, that was, I guess, yeah, maybe a second place.
Second place?
I guess,
Okay.
technically. So I guess in talking about Kenny Pickett and the Steelers, we can also talk about Joe Flacco and the Browns. Do you know why? Because Joe Flacco has only played 7 complete NFL quarters and is 1 touchdown pass away from totaling Kenny Pickett's season total. Which is crazy, considering that Matt Canada hated offense and was an offensive coordinator. That's who they hired. So, are we going to have this conversation again? Is Joe Flacco elite, or has he always been elite?
I don't know, man.
I don't want to.
Yeah.
Does he have a ring? Yes. Is he an
Yes.
elite quarterback? Man, I just really don't know with that guy.
I don't know.
If Joe Flacco's elite, Eli Manning's elite.
Okay.
If Eli Manning is elite, then I don't know if Joe Flacco is.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I just saw on ESPN a little college football news. DJ Ungolungole, I don't even know if I pronounced that right, the former Clemson quarterback, he's now in the transfer portal again, coming out of Oregon State. So we'll see what happens. Let's see where he goes.
Oh, we don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I guess
in the transfer portal again.
There were a couple college football things that we still needed to address. The whole transfer portal thing. Did you see where ETN's primary destination looks like it would be?
No, but
the University of Georgia to be the primary back.
Oh, no.
Did you see that he was taking a bunch of crap online and Gator fans were tweeting at his mom about how mad they were? And his mom got on and said, I don't understand why all of you are upset about losing RB2. So that's the primary complaint, is that he can't block in the backfield at all. So I do get it to an extent, but he's also one of the more talented offensive players on that roster. And the fact that he's not out there and we're not game planning around him, I understand why he's leaving. But to go to the University of Georgia, you're going, that's a whole class up. That's a different level of SEC right now.
Right.
So, hey, I'm excited for him. Let's get back to it, Jags.
Yeah, let's get back to it. I guess we'll talk about this.
Yeah. So it didn't look like Trevor had practiced the entire week. That's what it looked like.
It didn't at all.
A couple interceptions that looked like they were just being thrown straight to the defense because the receiver wasn't in the spot he anticipated them being in. I did see there was one instance where he throws a pass to Calvin Ridley that's probably the most accurate pass without... Yeah, it didn't look at all. I don't get that. Clearly, just him being hurt and missing whatever first team reps that he would normally have hurt the team. And it didn't look awesome. Look awesome. It was reminiscent a little bit of the Kansas City game. Do you remember that week 3 early in the year? Had a bunch of opportunities to take the lead, fix our mistakes, get out in front, hold them where they were, but we just didn't take any of the opportunities they gave us. I felt like the Browns gave us plenty of opportunities.
Yep.
We had the ball down 10 with 3 minutes left, and we still couldn't get it done. Now, that is a tough situation to try to come back from, but I feel like that's possibly a position that you want to be in with Trevor Lawrence and Doug Peterson.
And when you have a guy like David Njoku, stiff-arming your guys, the slowest guy on the field.
Look, I had to play against him in fantasy this week. I was freaking out when I saw that Joe Flacco and David Njoku were best friends.
Anyway.
I guess it doesn't help that we are, as a team, on our 4th left tackle of the season.
Right. Cam Robinson out and,
I'm
and
looking for reasons to not give up on this team. The last 2, I have plenty of reason to. The last 2 games, we've lost to Jake Browning and Joe Flacco. We've given up 30-plus points as a defense to both of them.
Now we got to go face the Ravens next week, and I'll be there for that game. So that'll be interesting.
What are we? Are we 8-5?
8-5. So we could, at the end of this next week, either
be 8-7.
9-5?
No, that's terrible math. 8-6. No, I don't think we went through... the days of David Garrard, Blaine Gabbert, and Blake Bortles, and Chad Henne to give up on a first place division team this late in the year. You know, plenty of reason to give up on this team, I guess, in the sense that the AFC was wide open. We had a chance to really put ourselves up there as the top dog, possibly get a bunch of home playoff games, possibly a bye, but we've dropped the last two. Hasn't looked great. I think an ordinary.
But the rest of the AFC has as well. Like the Chiefs, they fell.
Yeah.
So
I'm
like,
okay with that. Yeah.
I'm okay with it, but like, gotta start picking it up soon because like the Chiefs, they're only just gonna start getting better and better as the season goes along. Maybe not so much this season, but we've seen in the past.
Yeah.
They're gonna start figuring out. They're gonna start game planning, and all of a sudden they're gonna start picking it up, and we have to be almost to that same level, I think, if we're gonna try to make a playoff push. So
yeah.
It's going to be a lot of interesting games coming up.
I know. I'm going to be on the edge of my seat for each of them. We haven't come this far to give up on a division-leading Jaguar team this late in the season. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to continue supporting them. This episode is not going to have its title as anything to do with panicking.
Okay.
I'm not panicking. You might be. I'm not. I think. I don't know.
I feel like you're deflecting it a little bit.
We'll see. Possibly. I don't.
Possibly. Okay.
Jake Browning and Joe Flacco. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next game. We saw the Eagles just not look like the Eagles against Dallas.
Yeah.
And ordinarily, I'd get on here and possibly just ignore the fact that Dallas actually took care of business one time. But today, I'll give it to you. You looked real good. It looks like you fixed your red zone problem. CD's turning into the receiver that you act like he is. And Dak Prescott didn't turn the ball over a ton. So I'll give it to you.
Cowboys fans, clip this, because I don't know if you will be able to get that from
It's not happening again.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's move on. Bills and Chiefs.
Yeah.
I was looking forward to this game, just the 4:25 start time. You know that it was going to be a fun one to watch. It's on CBS. And I know. It was just awesome being able to look forward to it. But it really did come down to the end of the game right there, because it looked like the Chiefs were going to do the thing that the Chiefs always do and steal it at the last second away from the Bills, because the Bills offense didn't do enough when it had a chance to. You know, it felt like we were following the same story arc we always have.
Yeah.
And then Kadarius Toney lined up offside. And I don't understand anybody criticizing the refs. I really don't.
I really don't. Yeah.
I don't understand how we're doing that. I'm a big fan of Patrick Mahomes. I love the way he carries himself, the way he handles himself in press conferences this year, even though it really does feel like his receiving core has let him down. He's taken all the blame upon himself. I don't understand the tirade against the refs. And you could even see him in the John Boy breakdown that they did, still upset about that play vocally and outwardly, as the offense was still on the field trying to overcome 3rd and 15, 4th and 15.
Right.
He was offside. I don't understand. Explain it to me if you get it. I don't understand the mantra of, we can't make that call there. I don't get that. If we can't make the call there, when do we make it? Because that's how the rule is laid out. He was offside. We threw the flag. We didn't throw the flag after the touchdown was scored. That's not how it worked. The flag was in the air as you were dropping back.
Yeah. I agree with all that, man. Like, there was other arguments that Patrick was making. It was like, man, like now Travis Kelce won't get that highlight ever again in his Hall of Fame ceremony or whatever, because it was called for an offsides. Like you can't make a play like that, and you can't.
Oh my gosh, that's pretty good. You
can't flag like that. In his voice. That wasn't me trying to take a stab at anything. It's just how he sounds. Chill,
like
Chiefs fan. I think Pat Mahomes is the best quarterback in the AFC. Relax.
I'll say he's the best quarterback in the NFL. I'll go farther than just the AFC. I'll say he's the best.
Well, yeah, okay, great. Best quarterback.
But he clearly doesn't know what offsides is.
He clearly doesn't know.
Neither does Kadarius Toney.
He was offsides. I saw a tweet. I don't know if you saw this, but it was like It was a picture of Randy Moss and Tom Brady, and it's like Kadarius Toney and Derek Carr when they go to the Canadian League to play for Toronto.
Yeah, they're gonna go off. They're gonna go off. I do feel bad for Kadarius Toney because man, the guy just can't seem to put it together when it matters the most. And I mean, everybody has a mom, everybody has a dad, and
right.
it's
Was
just
he like this
you
when
feel
he was
for
with the
him.
Giants? Like, did we see glimpses? Like, it's just
I
something
feel like
happened.
we did. I
Something
feel
was
like we did.
Yeah, all
Because
right.
Giants fans, I remember Giants fans being like, "This is great. He's gone. We can move on." I feel like I do remember that.
Okay.
Like and I mean, his pro day, the video that came out of his pro day, I think there was an instance where he ran a route on a DB, completely lost the DB in the sauce, and then dropped the wide open pass off his hands. And somebody found that and posted it on Twitter and said he was just giving us a taste for what was to come later. Because, I mean, on that roster, you got Valdez Scantling, who can't catch a ball over the shoulders. Guys, I get it. It's a tough catch to make.
No, it really is.
But he's also being paid to make that catch. You got Kadarius Toney, who has lined up on sides probably 99.7% of the snaps in his career, but didn't do it that one time. Tough thing to do? Sure, I guess, but he's also done it right plenty of times and he's being paid to. They just can't put it together. You said the Chiefs have historically always found a way to put it together late in the year. I agree with you.
Yeah.
It's just the problems they have.
Yeah.
Yeah, the problems they have this year is miscommunication on offense and receivers not catching the ball, which seems like that's a basic fundamental of football, and they can't figure it out.
Right. Yeah. No,
So
that's good.
Yeah. Remember that time when the Chiefs played the Vikings not too long ago, and it looked like there was blatant pass interference on a ball tossed to the end zone by Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
And the referees picked up the flags, and then what was his name? Snead took his helmet off, which is a penalty, and they didn't call that there. Like, there have been a fair amount of instances where it seemed like the refs were favoring the Chiefs. Fans have gotten upset about it, and fans have moved on. I don't remember a single player taking the podium and saying, "This happens every week. Every time we play the Chiefs, the calls always go against us." I don't remember a player doing that.
Right.
It feels a bit crybaby-ish for Mahomes to go out there and complain the one time the calls don't go his way. And I know that's probably an exaggeration. There have been other instances where a bad call has been made against the Chiefs. I get that. I'm just saying, you can't go and complain when you're this wrong.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's
a bad look. It looks like that's something I expect Brittany to do, not Patrick. So buy, sell, or hold. Even after last night, I am comfortable saying that the refs still favor the Chiefs more times than not.
Ooh.
I'm buying.
Okay, I'll buy, I guess.
Even after, right? Because we're not even saying that not them not throwing the flag there means that they missed blatant offsides.
Okay.
And we would easily say the inverse of it being, oh, they're favoring the Chiefs. He was clearly offsides. But so I'm buying. Even after that, I'm still willing to say that the refs more times than not will favor the Chiefs.
Fair. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Buy, sell, or hold. It is time to panic about the Jaguars. We know where I'm at, possibly. This is a litmus test for you, Peyton. I want to know where you are. How are you on this?
I'm selling. I think we'll be okay. I think we'll be fine. Everything's fine. We're great.
Yeah.
This is gonna.
Yeah.
This is
and
gonna
you're
be
sitting
fine.
there with a coffee mug and your room's on fire. That's how I envision that. I'm holding. No, here. Let's just. I was wrong to say that you had coffee in there. You clearly had hot chocolate in
Hot
there.
chocolate. Thank you. Gosh. Know your facts.
I know. That's on me. I'm holding. I'm holding right here.
Okay. Oh, hold. Okay.
I'm not buying. It's not time to panic. Because I've already done that twice this year. I'm not panicking again after every loss, but I mean, it's a pretty big inconvenience to lose to Jake Brown and Joe Flacco. But I'm also not selling. Like, there are things to worry about. We're on our fourth left tackle of the year. And I feel like the difference between, a first string and a second string left tackle is pretty big. So what's the difference between a first and a fourth? You know?
Yeah.
That's kind of where I am. I'm holding on this.
Okay.
Now, as you know, we are Diamonds and Hashmarks. Diamonds standing for baseball. I'm wearing a lot of Red Sox gear today. We are going to talk a bit about the Red Sox. So we're going to go ahead and move into a bit of a baseball conversation here, starting with buy, sell, or hold.
Yeah.
Ohtani is the last meaningful move the Dodgers make this offseason.
So
you think they're going to keep going then?
I think they're going to keep going. Yamamoto, I think, is while I've heard that he's been top priority for the Sox. Go Sox, baby. I feel like LA isn't done. LA can go out and get Yamamoto because then all of a sudden you got Ohtani and Yamamoto reunited
which would be crazy.
Which would be insane.
Especially considering the fact that I know his contract negotiations are already north of $300 million, not including posting. Which means that I don't know, he has up until January 9th, I think, to make a decision.
Really?
But that essentially means that in 2-3 weeks, the Dodgers could have spent $1 billion on free agents. That's an insane number.
Crazy.
I understand LA has the means to go ahead and do it, but I don't know if we could actually see them do it.
Right, yeah.
Because that headline of the Dodgers spending $1 billion in free agency in one winter is crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That would be a mark that would be tough to beat. So you think the Dodgers keep going, though?
I think the Dodgers keep going, yeah.
If not Yamamoto, then somebody else for sure.
Right.
Okay. I'm buying. I think they're done.
Okay.
I think they understand they just added somebody who, in a non-deferred payment schedule, does have an average annual value of $70 million, which puts them pretty darn close to a luxury tax threshold already. And they do have other needs on the roster. So I'm buying. I think that's the last move that they make. Meaningful move that they make. I think they could still get some other smaller pieces, but I don't think we're going to see any A or B list free agents. In the mix of these couple of big free agent signings we've seen as of late, suddenly Cody Bellinger finds himself without a market. So buy, sell, or hold, Cody Bellinger winds up back where he played last season with the Chicago Cubs.
I'm a hold. I think that'd be a last resort, if anything. Him going back to the Cubs will get something worked out with whoever with the front office there. And then, if not, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see who's going to be interested in. I don't even know how old he's now, but like a center fielder.
He's still in his 20s.
Still in his 20s. Okay, well, we'll getting ready to be almost in his 30s probably. I'll look at it right now, but like if he's
that's how age
close
works.
To there.
All right, my bad. Sorry, shouldn't have said it like that. People are going to think there's something wrong with the recording of the podcast if you don't say anything soon. Okay, all right. My bad. I'm buying here. I think he winds up back with the Cubs just because the market for him is small and there aren't a ton of teams looking to add that lefty spark plug. I'm sure the Cubs would be lucky to have him back, but I feel like the Dodgers, being the other team that could have added him and brought him back to LA, have already kind of hit their threshold. So I think he winds up back with the Cubs. We've already talked quite a bit about Ohtani, and we got some we've got some specifics to get into.
Let's do it.
Let's start at the beginning. Free agent, ton of teams in the mix, among them the Braves, the Angels, Blue Jays, Dodgers. I think the Red Sox were even there. Mets were there at some point. And then it looked like a couple of days ago that the Blue Jays were going to land him. And it sounded like he was on a plane going to Toronto.
Yeah.
And then we saw betting odds shift to favor Toronto. And we saw multiple big MLB personalities posting about, hey, it looks like Toronto, MLB trade rumors, John Morosi.
Yep.
And then it wasn't Toronto.
Right. Because he was
And
still
it
in
comes out-
California, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Comes out the next day. 10 years, $700 million. Signing with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Now, they're agreed in principle. That's as far as this deal has gotten. He
Yeah,
hasn't
right.
actually signed anything yet. He's still got probably weeks of physicals to go through.
Sure. Yeah.
Because this is a lot of money to commit to a one player.
Right.
Biggest guaranteed contract of all time amongst the four major sports.
Yep.
You could actually take the biggest guaranteed contracts in the other three major sports, the NBA, NFL, and NHL, add them together, and you still don't get $700 million.
Yeah.
You can take the payroll of the bottom 7 teams in the league of Major League Baseball, add it together, and you come close to $700 million. Peyton, the Oakland A's payroll of the last 10 seasons is not $700 million. If you take Oakland Athletics payroll the last 10 seasons, it adds up to $667 million.
Wow.
He's making more in a year than some entire payrolls will.
That's
if
crazy.
we went by average annual value.
Right.
But
Yeah.
we're not. We're not. Apparently, most of, and I'm using quotation marks there because that's what has been officially said, most of this contract is being deferred to a later date. I think it's totally reasonable to see Los Angeles paying out this contract into like 2045, 2050. The way that it sounds like it's structured, it looks like they're probably going to wind up paying $40 to $50 million this year instead of 70. They're trying to back end the heck out of this thing, just so that they have an opportunity to build around him.
Right.
So automatically, if he signs, that takes their payroll from 174 to 244, which puts them over the luxury tax number for 2024, which is at 237. If your payroll is over $237 million, there are tiers of tax you have to pay on the excess payroll. With him making 40 to 50 million, we can safely estimate the Dodgers in 2024 will have a payroll of close to $220 million, so still under that luxury tax threshold.
Right.
But I've heard a lot of chatter about how this is the reason why Major League Baseball needs a salary cap. Do you think $700 million over 10 years is evidence that clearly Major League Baseball needs a salary cap, or do you think this is totally okay for the game because they have the luxury tax thing?
I think it's okay. I think Ohtani is deserving of every single penny of this contract for him to go to the Dodgers in LA. And I actually do have to get something off my chest here real quick because I've been seeing it all over social media. Of like, oh man, he's leaving this team and he's going to LA. He's going to Hollywood. I'm like, he's not switching residence. He's staying in the same city.
He played
LA.
for the Los Angeles Angels.
Dodgers.
Now he's playing for the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Like, what
it's not
are
like
these
he's
people
moving
saying?
from Seattle to LA.
I saw one from Fox Sports. Like Fox Sports Baseball was like, headed to Hollywood. He's already been there.
Yeah. Skip Bayless, insane tweet. He's like, move over, LeBron. You're not the biggest star in Hollywood anymore. Like, no. He played for the Los Angeles Angels.
I know.
Now he's playing for the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Okay,
I get.
I had to get off my chest. But
yeah.
He's deserving of this contract, bar none. Like $700 million for 10 years. It's an insane number. It was just, I mean, with everything he did last year, I mean, with the WBC, closing it out against USA for the championship, having an MVP year, leading the league in home runs while still being injured, and having a torn UCL and everything, and he's not going to be able to pitch till 2025. We'll get into that here soon. Having a monster year this year, and even last year as well. Man, it's so
Yeah, I
deserving.
mean, hats
I
off to
hope
him.
to keep it going. I mean, 10 years is a long time in baseball.
Yeah,
So we'll see. Because if he goes all the way through with this, it's another 10 years in LA, 16 years in the MLB.
we're talking about 2034 at that point.
Right.
That's going to be a heinous contract to try to offload,
Right.
especially with it being back ended if he's not performing anywhere near the level that he is now.
Right. We'll probably, if anything, and if anything, I think we're looking under the Bobby Bonilla deal.
Absolutely.
For sure. I think because if all of a sudden, man, he can't throw anymore, and and maybe the pop's just not in the bat at say 6 years down the line,
Yeah.
then it's just like, man,
Hey, we'll just pay you millions of dollars
Yeah.
to not play. Yeah, so I have been seeing a lot of oh my gosh, LA has a new star. Like, no, he's been in LA the entire
He's been
time.
in LA.
I understand the difference in market between the Angels and the Dodgers. Maybe that's what you mean. I'll extend some grace there, but he's been in LA the whole time, bro. But at the same time, I've seen a lot of conversation about this is why MLB needs a salary cap. And my defense is no.
No.
That's all I got to offer. We have. Go ahead.
I've heard from a friend, a friend that I'm really close to. I've gotten to know really close. He told me this. No is a complete sentence.
Yeah, I think in this case it is.
Yeah.
But I'll go further in explaining this.
Go ahead.
No, they don't need a salary cap. I've seen. I even had a recent conversation with our friend Nick over at What's Up Doc. Go check them out.
Go check them out
If you want content similar to this that extends more than just football and baseball. But had a conversation with him recently. He said that this is why MLB needed a salary cap. I said he was wrong. And he pointed out Oakland. And I said, humor me for a second. Oakland is actually intentionally trying to sabotage their relationship with Oakland. So that's why they're not paying guys. They're trying to leave. They're trying to go to Las Vegas.
Right.
Let's instead look at other small market teams. Yeah, we could look at Pittsburgh, and we could say, why have 30 teams if Pittsburgh could never even sniff $700 million over 10 years? Okay, fair. But what's the reason for doing that? To increase the Pirates' chances at playing in the playoffs one day, winning a World Series one day. Well, down there at the bottom of payroll is also a team known as the Tampa Bay Rays.
Yeah.
Who, even though their payroll is small and the way that baseball works, at least recently, has consistently made a run at the World Series and in the postseason.
Yeah.
So bumping up the payroll of these smaller teams, could it help them land bigger names? Yeah, of course. Is it affecting their ability to be competitive? No, I actually submit that it would be better for the Pittsburgh Pirates to actually have a new owner or have a new management style, new philosophy of how to do baseball. Mm-hmm. Because the Rays are getting it done with a payroll size similar to that of Pittsburgh. Now, you could say that the Rays are an outlier. Okay, fine. Look at the rest of Major League Baseball. How many teams this year in the bottom of the payroll schedule within the last 5 years made a run at the postseason? I mean, the Diamondbacks aren't huge.
Right.
The Rangers, as of late, have gotten larger. The Orioles, bottom in the league recently. Now they're up there. I do like that hat. It's a nice hat. But I don't think it's a salary cap issue. There is a de facto salary cap. It's called the luxury tax.
Yeah, luxury tax. Yeah.
So, do you think it's too easy of a loophole to get around the luxury tax with deferred payments? Like, do you think Major League Baseball needs to come out with a rule that's like, hey, this is the luxury tax. You can't do deferred payments. You have to go by average annual value or be within this percentage of average annual value over the course of the contract.
Yeah, I think in this case, yes, it's an easy way out. It's a way to try to not go over. Obviously, I think, gosh, I feel like they have to if it gets to be too much. If we get to see these big name players sign these big contracts, probably not as big as this one, obviously.
Right.
And yeah, so if we see this, I think more and more across the line, and we're just like, oh well, we're just gonna get past it with a deferred payment instead. and have that be a loophole. And then MLB, I think, is going to be like, yeah, no, we're not going to be doing that anymore. You got to go by AAV. And if you go over, you go over. You got to pay the luxury tax.
Yeah. I'm trying to look right now at like a free agent list for 2025 because
Sure.
as of right now, like Bryce Harper's contract isn't ending anytime soon. Manny Machado,
Yeah.
Xander Bogaerts, they signed deals recently. Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, Ohtani, they're all locked up in LAD. Like it's tough to find the
Trey
next
Turner,
big
he's
guy
locked
that
up for
locked up for a while. The
Yeah.
next big name is Juan Soto. He's a free agent at the end of this upcoming season, and he's currently with the New York Yankees. I would expect that Juan Soto actually signs the next big deal, and we're going to see another deferred payment structure because he's going to be able to walk in and say, look, I've done all this younger than these guys. I deserve Mike Trout money. And the Yankees are going to have to offer up a deferred payment schedule. And I think it's an easy way out around the luxury tax. I'm still trying to figure out how I feel about that. Like, I feel like the luxury tax is the way to just sign somebody to whatever figure of money you want to throw at them and not deal with the consequences. Or at least deferred payments, that's what I mean. Deferred payments is the way to just sign somebody to whatever figure of money you want and not deal with the consequences of the luxury tax.
Yeah, I think you hit around the button there. Yeah.
Still need to know how I feel about it, though. Speaking of these big contracts, it sounds like Yamamoto and his contract talks have already extended past $300 million. John Morosi has talked about how Boston has made Yamamoto a top priority. If I'm Boston, I'm walking in there with Dice K, the
Koji Uehara,
left fielder. Yeah, the left fielder this year, Yoshida, walking in there to make my sales pitch. And say that, I mean, come to Boston, it would be great. Like, I don't think you walk into that meeting room with David Ortiz, just culturally, I think it's a little different.
Yeah.
But
I would agree.
With that number getting higher and the reluctance of the franchise to sign Rafael Devers to a long-term, high-value deal for so long, I'm already nervous that it doesn't work out for Boston. It sounds like we're in on everybody and signing nobody. It sounds like we're in on Yamamoto up until a certain price tag, and we're not willing to get in a bidding war with people once it gets above a certain value. Like, are you at all nervous that Yamamoto does not end up in Boston? There are other big players, but, like, is there a better shot he ends up in Boston or somewhere else?
I think there's a better shot that he ends up in Boston. I don't think I'm too worried about it. I think I really wanted to happen for our rotation too, because I remember like talking to you about it a couple episodes back. We were just kind of looking at a rotation, and we were like, "Okay, what are we gonna do?" Because
I have a lot of questions.
Yeah, remind me of the name of our guy that we signed. Not the guy that we signed. The guy that we got for our general manager position.
Craig Breslow. It's a first big test, and it sounds exactly like it's an off-season going the same direction as off-seasons did when Kyle Bloom was in charge.
Sure. Yeah. No, that's. I think that's fair. Especially with the signings, I think that we've seen in the past when Kyle Bloom was was under the helm. Like, I mean, that Bryce Harper deal. There's another one that was really big that comes to mind. I can't think of who it was, but it doesn't matter. But that's a great take. I like that.
Yeah. I actually go the opposite way on that question. I think there's a better chance he winds up somewhere else. It seems like we were really reluctant to sign Rafael Devers to a long-term deal, and there's a big name that's not currently on the Red Sox roster in Xander Bogaerts that I thought deserved to be a Boston Red Sox for the rest of his tenure in Major League Baseball. How about
Mookie Betts?
That also happened, and that also makes me sad and want to not be here. And
yeah,
I'm wondering this: how long until interested in everybody and signing nobody gets old? Like, how long until it's not a functionality of general management issue, but an unwillingness to open up the pocketbook? Like, if you miss on Yamamoto, is that a colossal failure of general management at that point? If you miss on Yamamoto, can I
Talent that
reasonably say you missed it?
Yeah, I think you can. I think you can. I think
Man,
you can make an argument. Yeah.
I feel like they're going to. I really
Yeah.
do feel like they're going to miss on Yamamoto. I do have hope that they sign it. I know we have the money. The Boston fan base is great. They're consistently sold out. Things are
Yeah.
expensive. We're doing everything we can.
The legendary Fenway Park.
But also, I don't feel like you can miss on this.
Right. Yeah.
And they're going to. All right, before I get too upset.
Sure.
Other Boston Red Sox news, they did pick up Tyler O'Neill in a trade. It looks like they flipped Verdugo for O'Neill, picked up, I don't know, an extra half point in WAR between those two deals, and shaved off a good $1.5 million in payroll, roughly, I think. So they picked up an extra win, roughly an extra half win, and dropped some payroll. You got something to say?
Yeah, I hear the word war thrown around a lot, and I myself have no idea what it means. So for our listeners and our viewers, could you give like a minute pitch on what war is?
Yeah. So WAR, WAR, stands for wins above replacement. It's essentially a way for statisticians in Major League Baseball, the analytical people, to measure a player's value in all facets of the game by deciphering how many more wins they are worth than the replacement level player at that same position. So
Okay.
the higher your WAR is, your WAR number, that's generally speaking how many wins you're participating to the team
Fair
over
enough.
the course of
I think that was less than a minute. Look at you.
well, I read the definition off of Major League Baseball's website.
There you go. Hey.
I mean,
Come
I
on
knew generally what I was talking about when talking about WAR. I know that it's a way to measure how many wins a player is good for, generally speaking. So,
Sure. Yeah. Maybe
Tyler
that's our
O'Neill shows
vocabulary
up.
of the day. Like that. All right, go ahead.
Verdugo goes out. Tyler O'Neill comes in. We saw
Sure.
a player who had issues with the head coach consistently, I think, showing up late and getting benched because he wasn't putting the effort in. For a player who, with the St. Louis Cardinals at one point last season, did get benched because he didn't have the effort level that they wanted.
Sure.
So I'm seeing close to a repeat, massive right-handed power if he can replicate what he did in 2021, because that season was great for him. Fortunately, it's also the outlier. I'm hoping we see 2021 Tyler O'Neill. If I had to
Sure.
liken
Yeah.
this trade to a trade or signing from one in the past recently, I would say what the Red Sox are trying to do here is replicate the Hunter Renfroe trade.
Yep.
Or replicate the Hunter Renfroe signing. I forget how we acquired him in the beginning, but that's what they're trying to do. And they balance the outfield by doing it.
Hmm.
You know, you had lefty Yoshida, lefty Duran, lefty Verdugo, righty Duvall. You lost Duvall. As of so far, it sounds like you lost Duvall. He's still a free agent. But now you got rid of lefty Verdugo and you added righty Tyler O'Neill. So it looks like things could even out as far as the lineup is concerned. It looks like we're not going to be concerned about a left-handed pitcher walking into Fenway Park moving forward. You got anything to add to this deal?
I was trying to find what the Hunter Renfroe Boston trade was. Real quick.
Most of what you're going to find is us shipping him out to Milwaukee in exchange for Jackie Bradley Jr. to come back.
Those are the top four, so I'm gonna X out,
so
and we're gonna move on.
All right, moving on.
Those are the top four.
Peyton, I go back to the point I made last segment where I'm talking about it sounds like it's not necessarily an inability for management to get interest from these players, but actually an inability for the front office to open up the pocketbook, because we have been linked to Seth Lugo and Lucas Giolito, two right-handed pitchers that I think would be great additions to the roster. But we're currently in a bidding war with the Kansas City Royals to sign Seth Lugo. That's a B-list free agent.
Yeah, that's also like the Royals too. Like that's a pretty low bar for us, and kind of disappointed that we're in a bidding war with the Royals.
I kind of think the Royals are trying to do everything they can to go for it here.
That's
Like,
true.
they got the young guy and Bobby Witt, and they've shown a lot of interest in Marcus Stroman.
Well, I mean, and also I guess like the last time they were relevant was almost 10 years ago. So
Yeah, I think we
kind of
could see
makes
Stroman actually wind up in Kansas City. Now, his average annual value on his contract would probably be north of $40 million if he wound up in Kansas City, but Seth Lugo sounds like he's going to the Royals so far, and
okay.
we're in a bidding war. I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
Last segment of the day, right before we get into best and worst of the weekend. Cody Bellinger. We talked about this during buy, sell, or hold. Suddenly he's without a market. We saw this guy have a great year in Chicago, opted out of his contract well within his right to do so. And it looked like the options for him were wind up staying in Chicago, going to the Dodgers, going to the Yankees. The Blue Jays were a team of note. The Dodgers got their guy. The Yankees transformed their outfield in 2 days. And the Cubs, I guess, are where he winds up. He doesn't leave.
I don't think. Yeah, I think we
I
were
feel
talking
like
about
the
earlier.
Giants are also in there. I feel like the Blue Jays could be an okay fit, but I don't know how, if you're the Toronto Blue Jays, you go from almost signing Shohei Ohtani to gifting your season ticket holders with Cody Bellinger. I feel like that's got to be rough.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. And man, like he was. It looked so promising. I think for him. Gosh, when he just come off that MVP season, being Rookie of the Year his first year, also with an All-Star appearance, like
Yeah.
you're like, man, this guy's gonna be something. And
Yeah.
I mean,
and then he fell off a cliff.
and then he fell off, but then kind of started to get it back with the Cubs. I mean, he finished 10th in MVP voting. Silver
Yeah, he
Slugger
had a great
along
year.
with that had a great year with them. Guess what? Just tried to test free agency a little bit here, and just is not finding what he wants. So hopefully he does find
Yeah.
what he wants, and that he.
But also,
either,
all the teams that would have interest in him have gone different routes.
like Soto to the Yankees.
Yeah, Verdugo to the Yankees, Ohtani to the Dodgers.
To the Dodgers.
Suddenly
yeah.
they can't afford you, and man, the Cubs are going to be a case study here. I feel like in a couple years because they had a great year, not trying to win, like with Seiya Suzuki, Marcus Stroman, and Cody Bellinger and Candelario, and suddenly they found themselves in a position to actually make the playoffs, and they didn't. Now they fire their manager, Marcus Stroman, Cody Bellinger, free agents, Candelario, I think, just signed with someone else. They bring on a new manager, and suddenly, within, I don't know, 2 months, the entire team roster looks completely different.
Yeah,
so
I agree with
all right, let's go ahead and wrap it up. You think about your best and worst of the weekend while I run through all the notes that I skipped at the beginning of the show. Check us out on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. 5-star review there would be great. It would really help the algorithm figure out who to recommend us to next. If you have a problem with anything we said, please don't go on socials and blast us. Email us at diamondsandhashmarks@gmail.com. Let us know what you think about what we think. Diamonds and Hashmarks on YouTube and Instagram. You take off the S, Diamond Hashmark. That's where you find us on Twitter. Look, we're extremely busy. We're trying to be more active on socials. It's just not happening. So you get content when you get content. But every Monday and Thursday, generally speaking, unless one of us gets sick and gets a puppy, we're uploading every Monday and Thursday. So
I'm not
that's
getting
the
a
worst of
puppy
the weekend.
soon.
No, you're not allowed to, according to Dad. So
Yeah, that's it.
that might be your worst of the weekend.
That might be my worst of the weekend. I remember we were having a conversation. Maybe I should get a puppy, and I heard Dad from the other room was like, "No."
I know.
I was like, "Dang it."
Yeah.
But anyway, my best and worst of the weekend. Let's see. So best of the weekend. Gosh, does it have to be sports related?
No, I've done rants against Butterfinger, Twix.
That's right.
And Burger King. So
that's right. Well, let me see if I can try to find something.
Did you know that Burger King was on a Spotify playlist? Like, they have a Spotify playlist of all their songs that they use in advertisements.
Okay, that's my worst.
I only found this because I hate them.
That actually was going to be my worst of the week because, like, it was funny the first year, with it being it last year, and again then it got annoying, and then now I'm just like, let it die.
Yeah, let the
So
ad die, please.
let the ad
Fire up the
die.
marketing generator, find a new thing.
Find a new thing to be excited about. I think. So that's my worst of the week. I'm having a tough time seeing anything good this past weekend.
Oh, that's rough. Here,
That's
I'll
rough.
go ahead and
You
go
go ahead
real
and go, and
quick.
I'll see if I can think of something,
Yeah,
man.
my best
This
and
is
worst of the
annoying.
weekend. I'm actually going to go ahead and settle here on the worst of the weekend is Jake Browning and Joe Flacco consecutive weeks beating the Jaguars, giving up
Okay.
30 plus points to both guys. I don't think either one of them are elite. I don't think either one of them are the starting quarterback for their team next season. I think it's a shame that we're losing 2 in a row and giving up 30 plus points to them. My best of the week, probably just the band-aid being ripped off of the Shohei Ohtani contract, and now I get to talk salary cap with all the people who think that salary cap is necessary. Like, and it's one of my favorite things to do because it's not like the salary cap guarantees you more participating teams in the NBA or the
Yeah.
NFL or NHL. Like, you're still seeing a new winner essentially every year, minus the Houston Astros in baseball, and there is no salary cap. I think it's better for the players. I think they still have a lot of work to do and caring for the minor league players. Shout out the JUCO Bandits. Shout out the minor league grind that it is. But
Get your bronies.
yeah, best of the week is the contract. I think it's a huge win for baseball.
Yeah, that's good, man. All right, I thought of one. So my best of the weekend. I mean, we're finally starting to get down to some playoff football here soon.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the key things happening, and people that are still in the hunt. In regards to that, the AFC South is going to be interesting and see how that finally unfolds. So a lot of exciting times, I think, going forward with just how everything ends up, and hopefully the Jags will be a part of that mix as well, and hopefully we'll see Kansas City up there as always. But yeah, I think that's my best of the week. Just like we're starting to get to down where these next couple of games in the next couple of weeks, they're starting to matter a little bit more, and
Yeah,
it's starting to
yeah.
get down to the nitty gritty. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah, it is exciting. Moving on from just the random week where Devontae Adams goes for 200 plus yards and
then, like,
another
13
Derek
yards
Carr receiver gets arrested. We're getting down to some meaningful football here, and it's exciting.
Wow,
So,
that's crazy.
man, I feel like we got a couple of pretty good clips out of this one.
Yeah.
So, without further ado, let's go ahead and sign out, and we will see you again on Thursday. This has been Diamonds and Hashmarks. I'm the host and producer, Alex Pichardo.
And I'm the co-host, Payne Pichardo. You dig? We'll see you later.